Is Freeland broken? Hi, welcome to Canada Wide. Today we will listen to a question, a very simple question to the finance minister, or the number two in charge. And it's about Bill C-56. Doesn't really matter what the bill is, but the question is, what is the GDP? Asking the person that would know this in Canada and can answer, and it's probably published and not a secret. It's not a private company, and they don't have to mention it. It's all common knowledge. And I'll leave the video at the end of her talking because no one really likes to hear her talking much anyways. But the question is simple, and she won't answer it. And then she spins it because she's in a position of power to say that Pierre, how dare he ask the reporter to clarify and to actually call them a liar for saying it and spreading fake information. And these reporters, they're all adults. They're not grade 3, you know. And the question was poorly worded and it was manipulative. And you could tell that they were trying to get something. And I don't understand what the big deal is, because the event happened and then 30 minutes later it goes on CTV News that Trudeau's government said they're not ruling out that it's a terrorist attack or something like that. And I don't understand what the big deal is. Like, this stuff happens so fast and they're pushing it so hard, the Liberals, and I just don't get it. And then it finally occurred to me that it's not like they want Pierre to say, "Oh, we got you because you said it was a terrorist attack. You're spreading fake information. Censorship bill. We need to raise more taxes." It's not that. What they wanted him to say was that a terrorist attack, and pick an ideology that starts with an I and blame it. And then all of a sudden they can wedge that issue and divide again, and they can use that for the next year and a half until the election. They'll say, "Oh, Pierre, that's the guy that said that it was a terror attack from that ideology with an I." Like, that's the whole point that they want to make out. And then it goes on to Ukraine, that, well, how dare you pull out of, don't give support to Ukraine. I think if they say the GDP is worse and going down the pits and everything's going bad, and then they say we need to give more money to Ukraine. You know what the average age of the Ukrainian soldier is? 43. So that means what happened to all those 18-year-olds and stuff? They all wiped out? Yeah, they've all been wiped out. And how many soldiers have died? 130,000 soldiers have died, 300,000 wounded. And that information is probably 6 months old. It's probably more anyways. Like, don't you think that Trudeau's just a fear-mongerer at this point? Like, what happened to peacekeeping? Nothing. It doesn't matter. They just wipe out a generation. Zelensky doesn't seem to give a care. There's some videos I made too of maybe that he's involved with some $75 million yachts, super yachts and stuff. Like, I don't know. It seems like the war has already been over for a while. They just need the money train to keep going in. But anyway, let's have a listen to Freeland dodge a question. And I'm not sure if she's trying to rebrand the Liberals that they're amazing and that they, that they're the ones sticking up for the little guy. Like, I don't know if that's what she's thinking in her mind, and I think she is, because they're so desperate. They're at the end of the life of the Liberal Party, and it almost looks like the end of it forever. And the NDP is just holding on like a crazy. Why they are holding on is unbelievable, but it looks like it's the end of it, and she's just desperate to get some division, and pound it in your head, just like the climate change. Pound it in. If you deny it, then you're a bad person. If you believe them and believe the science and never say anything about where the science is, where the data is, then you're a good guy. Like, that's really what they try to do. So let's listen to Freeland. A very simple question. She doesn't really answer anyways many questions. Thank you for the question. It's like, you don't have to say that for every question. I'm not sure if she's just filibustering the whole thing anyways. So anyway, let's listen to Freeland go over this. Thanks
per capita
for watching.
In the first quarter, the second quarter, or the third quarter?
Any quarter.
Mr. Lawrence, you and I actually have had very respectful exchanges, and I'm grateful for that. But I have to say, after your leader's performance last week, where he jumped to accusations of terrorism, alarming all Canadians, and after the vote of your party to fail to support Ukraine, it is a
Point of order, Chair. What was the GDP per capita in the first quarter, the second quarter, or the third quarter?
Any quarter.
Mr. Lawrence, you and I actually have had very respectful exchanges, and I'm grateful for that. But I have to say, after your leader's performance last week, where he jumped to accusations of terrorism, alarming all Canadians, and after the vote of your party to fail to support Ukraine,
Point of order, Chair.
it is a
Point of order,
bit
Chair.
What was the GDP per capita in the first quarter, the second quarter, or the third quarter?